We are just back from a celebrity reflection Solstice class cruise after years of cruising on Edge class ships. Here's what we loved, what we missed, and how much we saved per day, and why the 2026 upgrades could make these ships a no-brainer. Let's dive in.
Hey, I'm Mark.
I'm Monica.
We took this cruise in August. It was kind of an unusual one for us as we have not been on a 3-night cruise in a long time.
Maybe when we got married back in
Last year.
1996.
Just a couple years ago.
Okay.
We had 2 quick stops. We were in Key West for the day and Bimini for the day, and then back into Fort Lauderdale. Now, we had a reason for doing this cruise. It was because we needed points to get to the next level on Celebrity's loyalty program, their Captain's Club program. We have some cruises coming up on Royal Caribbean on a Celebrity that are quite a bit longer. We wanted to get to the next level, Elite Plus and Diamond Plus. Celebrity and Royal will match each other's status, but a lot of things surprised us.
We haven't been on a Solstice class cruise since 2020 when we were on the Eclipse.
But we used to love the Celebrity Solstice class ships. I think we've been on how many of them at this point?
Well, we were on the Equinox, we were on the Eclipse 3 times, and we've been on the Solstice.
We paid about $430 per day for the 2 of us combined, but we put ourselves into Aqua Class. And the reason we went into Aqua Class is, while we do enjoy it, it's nice to have the specialty restaurant, but also it gives you 5 points per day. And in normal veranda cabin, you get 3 points per day. We were about 12 points shy of getting to the next level. 3 nights times 5 points, 15 points. We made our new level as a result of this cruise. We were worried about it being way too short. We figured like it was going to be rushed. We would barely be unpacking and we'd be packing and being booted off and kicked off the ship. One thing I wanted to give a little bit of quick advice on is if you've ever been in this situation, if you book yourself into Celebrity Aqua Class or Concierge Class, you do get those 5 points per day. And that really can add up. If you book into a suite, you get even more points, but those cost many multiples typically of a veranda cabin. But a lot of times, Concierge Class or maybe Aqua Class, if you do it right, maybe it's only going to cost a couple $100 more. You get some really nice perks and benefits to go with that. We'll be on the Equinox in Antarctica, and I think we're doing Apex in the Arctic Circle in 2027. But we actually went ahead and we're just going to do veranda cabins, but I noticed it was only a couple $100 more per person to get Concierge Class. That means we get 5 points per day times 14 days. That's 70 points versus about 42 points. So again, we're trying to chase the next status up, and the benefits are real. I mean, they're valuable every cruise. Now look, if it's 50% more or double, I don't really care. It's not worth it. But when it's kind of minimal and you get additional perks for each of those classes, it's just another strategy to think about. But none of these ships are brand new. They launched originally in 2012. Celebrity's done an amazing job keeping them current, keeping them up to date. They look great inside. I was worried about that a little bit. It's been 5 years since we've been on one. We didn't do it for the itinerary, but we had a great time in Key West. Bimini, I could take it or leave it. Just do the beach club, just call it a pool day. We pretty much just walked off the boat, walked a couple miles, then came back on and enjoyed a really nice sea day, even though we were in port. And there's also a 4-night iterary that's a little bit more interesting because you get to go to Perfect Day as well as Key West. You get a sea day, but we only needed to do 3 nights. We wanted to make it a long weekend. What were your impressions when we got on the ship?
I really enjoyed the ship. It did not appear to be an old ship when I got on it. She was looking surprisingly great. The only thing I noticed that seemed dated was a little bit of signage here and there. Everything else looked quite up to date.
Always getting on a cruise ship, it's one of the most exciting things when you first walk on. But I gotta tell you, I forgot how nice the design of this ship is. It feels pretty large, but it's actually really easy to get around. It's not a mega ship by any means. It had so many different public spaces I kind of forgot about. Never felt crowded at all. I was really, really impressed with how many different places to go eat. I forgot how many restaurants they had. So very, very positive. I noticed one thing on the first day with the crew. Don't get me wrong, the crew is amazing on these ships, but I think we had been on recently a transatlantic on Apex. We had been on the Celebrity Beyond out of Florida recently. We found the crew to be friendly and so nice and smiley, everybody. I think on this one, because they're doing shorter cruises and they have to turn them over twice a week, and it wasn't quite as like smiley and friendly, at least on the first day, but that actually improved rapidly. Overall, it was a really nice experience.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. It must be tough to make connections with people and build relationships when you only have a few days. It probably becomes a blur for the crew after a while.
The crew in Blue did a really nice job of immediately getting to know us. We're so welcoming each day that we came back. Our waiter, Rolando, I mean, it was like we were kind of buddies after the first night, and we had the same people we always asked for them. So again, for 3 nights, you don't really expect to have any connection. And we actually ended up having some nice connections and got to know some of the crew in the short amount of time we were on. I was just, again, kind of surprised about the buffet, the Ocean View Cafe. They have it on old Celebrity ships typically. What I realized was, even though it's smaller than what we found on the Edge, the Beyond, the Apex, I pretty much had most of the same food, and the quality was just as good. There was a couple stations that we encountered on Edge class that you don't have an Ocean View, but there was no real shortage selection. There was a specialty restaurant called the Porch. It's basically like this outdoor, very casual, up on the pool deck restaurant, and it has a seafood focus. And for lunch, it was really great. We did it the day that we were in Bimini. It was like $30. And what'd you think of that?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. You had a good choice of seafoods and ceviche, lobster rolls, all kinds of stuff. And it was really good.
I mean, you could have gone to the Ocean View Cafe and it's free. But I thought for $30, pretty nice deal overall. And it was just something kind of new and different to do. We also do a dinner there. They do expand the menu a little bit. On this ship, it's kind of where we used to see the glass blowing on some of the other ships. It's basically a bit of like dinner theater. You can see them with the cameras and the screens cooking up your steaks. We didn't do it, but for $35 or whatever. The second we walked up there, they had a certain price, but when we started walking away, they gave us another price. So maybe try it out on your first day. Go ahead and see if they'll give you a deal. When you think about how much steakhouses are normally on these ships, 60, 70, $80 for $35 per person for a steak dinner outside on the deck, pretty nice overall. So again, it kind of surprised us. Of course, they have the standard dining as well. They also had Murano, which is a really nice French restaurant, and the Tuscan Grill, which is a combination of some steaks and a lot of Italian pastas towards the back of the ship on deck 5 by Blue. In addition, they also have Le Petit Chef. So again, think about it. There's a lot of dining options on this ship. What did you think of the cabin?
I liked our cabin a lot. Yeah, it was very comfortable, nice, very tasteful. Not as much storage as you might find on an Edge class ship, but we did finally find places for everything. You can tell Celebrity has really sought to improve that in its newer ships, but we still managed to find places for everything.
Don't overpack if you're going to go on one of these Solstice class ships, at least in our opinion. One thing that we were disappointed in was the climate control. The aircon didn't keep up when we had the sun beating into the room. We had to keep the drapes closed, which semi-defeats the point of having a veranda cabin. You want those drapes open. It was just a little underpowered. It was on max the entire time. In the evening, it was fine. It wasn't uncomfortable by any means, but it wasn't as cool as you'd expect. And again, I think it's just age of the ship a little bit. So we just kind of had to adjust to that a bit. Internet, pretty good overall. Again, they've gone massive improvement over the years. Aqua class, you've got a few premium. The cabin's basically the same. They just upgrade some of the amenities. I mean, maybe the bedding, some of the amenities in the bathroom are a little bit nicer, a little bit more upscale. I wouldn't put huge value on that. Real quick scores, just so you know. We did food, 4.5 out of 5. I know it goes all the way to the end here, but that's 4.5 out of 5. The ship, no surprise, we gave about a 4. The crew, a 4. The cabin, a 4. The internet, a 4. You can see the pattern here. Value, I did 3.5 because we booked kind of late. We probably could have saved some money if we would have booked a little bit more in advance. The only thing I would say, like the entertainment, it was okay. There was no really big production shows. Again, when we think back, we got a little spoiled on some of the other ones. Probably part of that is the longer cruises. Brought entertainment on. We didn't go. There was a magician one night. There was a comedian one night. We did the one production show and was more of just like a singing and dancing kind of review. It did not have that spectacular staging like we saw on Beyond and on Apex.
And Odyssey.
Overall, just under a 4 out of 5. We're really happy with the cruise. All right, so some of the important things are, if you're comparing Edge class versus Solstice class, why don't you tell us where the Edge class really shines?
Yeah, so venues like the Magic Carpet, which is something very unique to all the Edge class ships. Eden, the restaurant Eden, Rooftop Garden, those are all very special spaces that are on those ships. The retreat experience.
Those are the suites. It's just done in a bigger and probably better way. If you're going to spend all that money on the Edge, it's really pricey, but it's probably pulled off a little bit better.
And then, of course, as you mentioned, the big production shows on the Edge.
Let me tell you where the Solstice class shines. It's cool to have the grass up on that top deck, the lawn club. It's really nice. It's a great place to hang out. They've done a good job with bar areas up there as well. It's really nice to walk around. It feels a little bit less busy. It's not dramatically less passengers, but you kind of notice it a little bit. There's a lot of different spaces. It surprised me how many places there were to sit, to walk around, to read. It was actually kind of impressive. I thought they did a really nice job with the mix of the restaurants. You didn't feel like you were giving anything up in that area. And then the value is where some of these ships really start to shine. Another thing we'll talk about is itinerary, where you can go with Solstice class versus Edge. Foodie design, like Monica explained, you got to give
The edge.
to the edge, right?
Mhm.
But the Solstice class, it's not bad. It's right behind that. It probably will surprise you. But I think if you're chilling out, if you're like just reading outdoor, you're hanging out, grabbing a
Mhm.
chair somewhere, enjoying a sunset, they're both really great. But I actually have to give the Solstice in that case. No, that was a great reminder for us. And it kind of opened up a lot of opportunities for us on Celebrity the next couple of years because we're like, well, we can take these ships, be really happy on these ships, save money, and actually get to some more interesting itineraries. Not to say that Edge class, like Ascent, Excel, there's some really cool itineraries, but not quite as many because these ships are a little bit smaller. They start to put them into more unique locations when they've been in service for a number of years. Let's talk about pricing. I took a look at several hundred sailings on Edge class ships. And again, that's going to be Edge, Apex.
Ascent, Beyond, and Excel.
And on Solstice, you're going to be your Solstice, Equinox, Eclipse, Reflection. Who am I forgetting? Silhouette would be the other one. I took a look at balcony cabins per day. That's about 199 sailings. The average price on the Edge, $492 per day. Still a great deal. Cruising is an amazing for what you get. And that's a balcony. You could spend less for inside an ocean view. Solstice was 403. That's a pretty significant savings. That's about $90, per day. Multiply that over a 7-day cruise, not quite $700, but $600 over a 2-week cruise. You could be talking $1,200, $1,300. You could then go ahead and spend it on specialty restaurants, excursions, etc. So the savings are real. We love Edge class. We're still booking Edge class, but remember this.
Speaking of balconies, the Edge class has the infinite veranda balconies as opposed to the classic balconies. If you are one of those people that really likes the classic balcony that you can walk out onto, then the Solstice class might be the class for you.
We kind of thought short cruise is a smart cruise. It helped us accelerate our status. We didn't really spend that much because it was only 3 nights overall. It was a great way to maximize a weekend. We did not feel rushed. It was surprising. We felt like we got a real cruise in, which was pretty cool. Some tips, if you're going to take a short cruise, is board early on day one because you'll be cheating yourself if you get on at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, that's part of your day. There was a lot of people already at the pool by 12 o'clock. The rooms let us drop the luggage off, which was nice, even though we just carried on, so we didn't have to wait for our bags at all. Even though the room was still being worked on, it was nice to be able to drop the bags off. We had lunch, walked around, set up some reservations. It was really nice. Make sure you think about the same thing on your stops, like Key West. Make your dinner a little bit later on that night so you can enjoy some food. If you want to get the key lime pie or whatever, don't make the dinner at 6, make it later. Maximize your time for this trip. If you can, carry on. It's easy to get on, easy to get off. And we flew on and off the ship as a result. I know not everybody can do that, but if you can. Another thing I would consider is the all-in package. It is kind of nice to get the classic beverage package. It's nice to get the Wi-Fi. So if you can get that at a discount, which a lot of times we're able to hook people up with, I would highly recommend that. Any other recommendations?
No, but who would go off of a cruise ship with perfectly good food into a port just to eat key lime pie?
I would maybe do it twice. Just saying. It may have happened. It may not have happened. None of you know. You have no proof.
Big things on the horizon for the Solstice class.
A huge redesign. It's starting with the first ship in the class, the Celebrity Solstice. It's about $250 million investment that Celebrity's making. And they're going to be reinvigorating, renewing, updating Solstice. And my guess is this will spread to the additional ships over the next several years in the category. Talk about some of the things coming for Solstice in 26.
They're going to introduce new restaurants, bars, dining options, among other things. They're going to also enhance the retreat, refresh the staterooms, and have an aqua class expansion as well. Some of the new dining venues are Fine Cut Steakhouse, which is more of a premium steakhouse, Trattoria Rossa, which would be Italian, and then some new venues like Sunset Park, the Boulevard Lounge and Bar, and the Barcade, which is a craft social style sports and game bar.
And we've actually been booking people onto Solstice post the renewal, which is pretty exciting. So we've got quite a few of our people in the digital romance community that are now booked on Solstice and are going to be able to benefit from these updates and these changes. I like the fact that they're actually updating the staterooms as well. They do need some USB ports by the bedsides. So hopefully we'll see that. Sometimes like Royal Caribbean, for example, will do amazing renewals of their ships. A lot of times they sort of leave the cabins alone. So I'm excited that they're going to be refreshing cabins as well. Another really nice thing about Solstice class is they go to some really cool places. If you want to do some unique itineraries, like you've got a lot of Iceland stops, more scenic cruising up into Greenland, the British Isles, you go up into Canada more. So it's not the typical places.
Antarctica, we've got Australia, Patagonia, and then some really nice, more unusual Caribbean itineraries as well.
Yeah, and that's why we put ourselves on. I think we're doing the Antarctica one. So again, if you want to get some cool itineraries, think about this class of ships as well. By the way, we can personally help you pick the perfect celebrity itinerary or any other cruise line. We provide you with our expertise. Many times we can pass along some really cool discounts, onboard credits, amenities, and not to mention on Celebrity anyway, some really great all-in deals. We can do this on any ocean or river cruise. Just go to the link on the screen, digitalromance.com/cruising, and we work with you personally to get you onto your next cruise. All right, so the verdict overall, do it. These are really great ships from Celebrity. We had an amazing cruise. We love Edge Class. We're not stopping booking Edge Class. It's exciting that there's a renewal program coming for Solstice Class. If the pricing looks good and the itinerary looks good, you should go with full confidence on one of these ships.
If we find an itinerary that we just can't refuse on a Solstice class ship, we won't have to feel like we're compromising by not doing an Edge class.
And we actually have our first Millennium class coming up towards the end of 2026. We'll share that with you as well. What we think about that. It's over in Asia. So we are excited because that would be, for us, again, brand new class. It's one of the originals, Celebrity Classic for sure. Hey, do us a favor. Go ahead and leave in the comments below. Have you ever been on a Celebrity Solstice class ship? Or have you been on a Celebrity Edge class ship? What is your preference? What did you prefer? I'd be really interested in hearing what you all think about these cruise ships. Do you agree with our review? Do you disagree? Leave that in the comments below. And if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That would be awesome. I know about 9 out of 10 of you watching right now are not subscribed. It's free. Just click that little subscribe button and it'll notify you when we release our next video. Speaking of next videos, up in the top corner, we put together some of the most amazing Celebrity cruise itineraries coming out over the next couple of years. These were just announced recently. Check that video out for new adventures. And with that,
We'll see you out there.
see you out there.